What's up, Duke fans? This is Ryan Young back with another installment of the Brotherhood podcast. Today we have a guest that I've just met a few days ago for the first time here at K Academy, none other than Theo John, who played a imperative role in the 2021-2022 Duke team that made a deep run in the Final Four. Thanks for being here, man. How's the week been at K Academy?
Man, it's been great. It's been great to be back. Seeing the Brotherhood, seeing the familiar faces and everything, guys, the supporting staff around it. It's been an amazing experience. So always good to be home.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just mentioned it to everybody, but we've only met briefly for the first time three days ago.
Yeah.
Did a little bit of light background. You're from Minneapolis. Played your high school ball in the city?
Yeah, I played at public school, Champlain Park. Had some great runs together and, won some games. It was a good time.
Yeah. And then you're the oldest of four. Siblings, athletes as well?
Yeah, ex-athletes now. I got one sister at Harvard, youngest baby sister, one sister living in Trinidad and Tobago, and then a brother finishing 1 year at Missouri Western. So
absolutely. Nice. Who'd you play your AAU ball for?
Howard Pulley. Yeah, so
played
circuit
with, team?
What was that?
Were they a circuit team?
Yeah, they were a circuit team for a while. We was undefeated my last year. That was like Gary Trent, Trey Jones. So very familiar with the Dukies in that.
There we go. And then you made a decision to go to Marquette. What were you interested in? What went into that?
Man, there's a lot. It was more based on relationship with coaches. Marquette, they don't have a football team, so like all their resources and stuff is focused on basketball. Wojo was a huge part of that. Sewell at the time was down there. So I've had a strong relationship with the two of them for a while. My main recruiter, Stan Johnson, he did a great job just sharing what it is that they could do for me, and we felt that was the best place for me. And I had an amazing 4 years. Made it to the tournament one time, and just had a lot of fun. Learned a lot, and got to be under a great staff. So it was a great time.
Absolutely. And then I don't know if you remember, I scrimmaged you back. This has got to be 5 years ago. Do you remember coming to Northwestern?
I remember that.
You would have been a sophomore, maybe?
That was in between freshman and sophomore year, was it not?
Yeah.
And then, because we had that meal up in y'all little football facility and everything afterward.
We had that brand. I think you might have been the first team that we had come and play in there because we had a new arena.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That was the first thing. I remember it being real nice. It would
have been real, yeah. It would have been brand new. But I remember that experience. I wasn't playing. I redshirted my freshman year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they had a big fella that's at UNC now. What's the name?
Pete Nance.
Yes.
Was young. Yeah. You would have guarded a guy named Derek Pardon. I don't know if you remembered him.
I
Played
do.
there, but absolutely. And then, so spent 4 years. I was going to ask you more about this comparison. I assume you've gotten the question a million times because I have. The comparison between the Big East and the ACC. You notice anything right off the bat?
Yeah, they two powerhouse conferences. The Big East, top to bottom, it's a dogfight every game, and I miss it. It was fun. It was physical. Got away with a lot more physicality in that league, and it was just that environment. You know what I'm saying? Like the schools in there, they have great fan bases. So when you're on the road, you get the hate, and I love that, fed into that. And at home games, you just feel that love and just that support and that energy, really. Yeah. So ACC is very similar, especially being K's last year. Every game was a sellout and stuff like that. So, they're hand-to-hand. Depending on the year, I feel like two of the best conferences there is to play in.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that was a big surprise for me because at Northwestern we were one of the we were always the underdog. Mm-hmm. You come here to Duke, and I think you guys went undefeated on the road last year, correct?
We'll have to fact check that, but I believe so.
We lost 2 or 3 games early, and every team stormed the court against us. That had never happened to me.
Nah, we lost at Ohio State.
They stormed or no?
They stormed, and we lost. Once you said the storm, I remember because when the fans around you and they talk, it's hard to
it's a wild experience.
Get to the locker room and stuff. But yeah,
after having it happen to you, I understand why like when you see like Alabama football get stormed somewhere, there's always like people arrested and
Oh yeah,
people suspended.
man. I've had fans run up to my face and saying crazy things,
Yeah.
and like they forget like I'm a dude. So at the end of the day,
No, it's really hard. I mean, the teams that I know Clemson stormed, trying to think of maybe Wake Forest might have. We lost there early. And it's, both their like facilities and their people did a good job of like getting out in front of us, but
Mhm.
it's tough.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
most of the kids
and you can start to see it too. Florida State, that was the other one
Okay.
because we lost there, and I remember because they had a good effort of trying to keep the fans out. They had
Yeah.
the ropes, bunch of security, but they made it through, and
they're prepped for it, but it's just, you got to
Yeah.
think it's a few thousand
Oh,
kids
yeah.
they've been drinking, they've been doing whatever, and they're
Uh-huh.
excited. And I understand like being it,
Mhm.
when it happens to you, you can see how, when you see Alabama or football schools, there's always altercations and
Mhm.
people getting hit.
And you got to realize we're their championship game every year.
Absolutely.
Like we're that circle date, so it's fun.
You have a favorite opposing gym to play in throughout college? Either.
Oof. There's a lot because I remember. So in the Big East, I really liked playing at Xavier and St. John's just because of the environment. They hated me, and Seton Hall too. I mean, the fan base hated me.
They split. Seton Hall and St. John's split between the pro arenas, correct?
Yeah.
So does
So
Marquette, right?
no, Marquette is always at
They have their
Fawcett.
own. Okay.
We played on the local gym, the Al McGuire Center, for the NIT my freshman year. But that's the
Okay.
only time we played in there.
But you appreciated the smaller gyms better.
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you fill it out. So if it's a full crowd like Foster, we sold out a lot of games, and it was a great. I mean, selling out an NBA arena is just gonna be a fun time. Like
Yeah.
it's great, and it feels more of like a pro standpoint. But like, I mean, places like Cameron, where it's small, really gives you like a college feel of like college environment. So what you grow up dreaming of.
Absolutely. Uh, so back to some stuff for you off the court. I was talking to Jalen yesterday. He mentioned that all of your tattoos are drawn by yourself. Is that true?
Yeah, iPad got a lot of storage on it.
Jeez.
So a lot of times. I mean, I just like drawing in my free time. I used to draw with my grandfather
Yeah.
back when I was younger, and used to really be into it. Obviously, basketball took off and kind of put it down the back dash. But I mean, tattoos it's like artwork for me, and it's just being able to kind of share my story, just again face value. But to me, I mean, everything I got is there for a reason. It has deeper meanings. So.
Yeah. I was going to ask if it's more artistical for you or sentimental meanings behind, but it seems like it's a bit of a balance.
Yeah, it's both. I always try to find like hidden messages within everything. So the people that really know me get to like appreciate the tattoos even more. And I mean, even my first one was very intentional. Just having it be Jesus' hand and just reminding me everything I do is through and for him. And I mean, when it's your right hand, it makes you reconsider what you're doing oftentimes, just
Yeah.
like having that reminder. So that's why it was my first one.
Absolutely.
Mom
And
wasn't
then-
too happy, but
Yeah. You got any plans coming up? You have anything on the.
yeah, man. If it was a perfect world, I'd be dang near head to toe. But it's the pay. You know what I'm saying? I want to pay for good work, and I'm very particular on who
Yeah.
touches my body because I don't do any of the like putting it on. I just draw it,
Mhm.
give it to the artist, and then you have to alter it a little bit sometimes.
What's that process? Do you make them kind of redraw it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very picky. So again, I
A few
pick my
different appointments
artists.
before
Yeah,
you're fully ready.
a few, just to make sure it's beneficial for both of us.
Absolutely. And then moving in, you recently became a father. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
How
Thank
has how's that been?
Man,
How has
it's
the life
been, it's
changed?
been crazy. You see the bags they were covering. Jabril, he's been great. Yeah, he's 3 months now, growing like a weed, and I mean every day is something new. So it changes your whole life perspective, and just being able to see him grow and just spend time with him, and it makes you reconsider your time, like everything,
Yeah.
everything. And people always warn you, like, yeah, your life gonna change, but you don't really know what they talking about till it happens.
Yeah. How'd you land on the name?
So Jabril means God is my strength.
Okay.
There's a lot of other things that we put into it, but we just felt it was perfect given his birth story. Almost lost both him and his mother during the process of that. And I mean, the first few hours, I was holding him, not knowing if his mom was gonna be all right. Just, I mean, just having that bond between, like they say, the first few hours is like really important to like bond with the child. So
Supposed to do the skin on skin,
yeah,
correct?
so I was doing skin on skin, trying to comfort Zaya's mom, and just kind of be as calm as I can while he's creating that bond fresh out. And everything turned out well. A few hours later, Zaya came in, and yeah, it's crazy looking back, man. I'm starting to shake up just thinking about it, but it rocks you to your core for real, especially a situation like that.
No, that's incredible. This will pivot here. I was going to ask you a little bit about interests off the court, plans for whenever you're done playing. I knew you were a comm major at Marquette. Any plans for when the ball stops bouncing?
Yeah, so I've been investing myself and trying to learn about like real estate, both residential,
Jalen saying
commercial. It's just been a growing interest of mine. Kind of goes well. It's a good pair with the basketball income. So just trying to find a way to have continuous income coming once the ball stops.
Yeah.
Because I mean, big goal is just to be able to play for as long as I can, and when I'm done, have my time back. You know how being a high level athlete, your time is always towards building your craft or being a part of the Duke program. There's a lot that goes with it. So just being able to have the freedom of doing what I want, kind of reevaluating when that time comes and the ball stops. To have like a cushion really to fall back on.
Yeah.
Real estate's a good avenue.
And then that'll be pretty dependent on where you are. You think you want to go back to Minneapolis? Any particular
Yeah, so
place?
I mean, Minneapolis is always going to be home, so I know I'm going to have something up there. But being around here and just coming back, I mean, it's my first time coming back for a period of time since being here. And it's like, North Carolina's beautiful. And beautiful weather. Being in Minneapolis, get to dodge the winters from down here. So just the more and more I travel, the more and more I'm like, you know what? Minneapolis might not be the home base, but there's always going to be something up there. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Great. All right. To wrap up this personal question section, I have a few quick hitters. If you're good with that, I'll just start with a role model. You have an idol in terms of basketball or not?
My biggest role model is my father. I know it's kind of cliche, but seeing where he's came from, he grew up in Trinidad and Tobago, and just the stories he's shared with me, and just seeing his overall perspective on life and basically where he made it from to where he is now, and his mindset throughout that process is just kind of like my daily motivation. Seeing him fight every day and trying to better himself for that next generation, or me and my siblings, is something that, especially being a father now, I can appreciate even more and try to do the same. So
I was going to ask, I feel like I know the answer to this, but what sport do you think you'd play if not basketball?
Football, or some kind of like MMA or boxing. My dad was really into that and taught us a lot of self-defense stuff. And, it's fun, the techniques and just different movements. And so football or MMA.
Yeah, not a bad skill to have. Yeah. If you won the lottery, what do you think you're buying first? Or what do you think your first move is?
First move, buying my parents a crib down the Caribbean, somewhere where they can kick back. Second spot is probably the lot next to it.
There you go.
For myself.
It's not bad. Favorite food?
That's tough. One of my favorite spots, Dame's.
Yeah.
Chicken and waffles down here. It's
high level.
Next level.
It is. And then last question I got for you. Any hidden talents?
Hidden talents? The drawing, I'd say.
Yeah.
Wasn't until the last few years that people really started to realize I draw tattoos, draw just in my free time. Yeah. A lot less of that free time now, but it's been fun. So.
No, it's still pretty cool. I mean, what percentage do you think of people that have tattoos have drawn their own? It's got to be less than.
Yeah, especially because everybody getting tattoos now, and you see a lot of copycat, a lot of like, you Google a tattoo, it's one of the first ones that pops up.
Yeah.
But I don't know. People get tattoos for different reasons. So if it means something to them, then good for them. If not, I mean, it's with them the rest of their life. So I hope they like it.
Yeah. All right. Now getting into this year at Duke, you spent 4 years at Marquette. You hit the transfer portal. What was your process like in the portal? What were you looking for, and how'd you land here?
Yeah, so after my 4 years in Marquette, well, this was when the COVID thing was added. So you were able to get
Okay.
another year with COVID. I, at the time, thought could never see myself going back. I was ready to make some money, had to make some money, and just kind of exploring what those options were. Agents, like, there's a lot once you're done with college. Especially, I was so focused on just being in the moment, being present. I didn't look forward when I was at Marquette. Um, so I was kind of leaning on like Sewell. I called him just to chop it up, and he's basically suggested like, listen, I'm not saying Duke is interested, but you should just consider going back for a year and just putting your name in the portal just to see what happens. And as soon as I did, he called me right back. And then the recruiting pitch started, and I talked to coach. And it was really, honestly, people have asked like if it's going to be Duke or where. It was Duke or pro. And talking with Coach K and just seeing all that he had to say, I mean, he sold me. It's hard to say no to Coach. So,
That's
yeah.
true. Yeah. What? Because I went through the same thing just a year later than that. What you mentioned about trying to figure it out right after your senior year. It's a weird time period. And I think people have some misconceptions about the transfer portal because it's.
Yeah, people get
I did,
lost in there.
I did not enjoy my time, and it's a stressful. Like you graduate, and then you're just trying to figure out. And I'm sure, I mean, based on what you're saying, it seems like it was similar. You're just trying to like talking to a million different people, agents, trying to figure
Yeah.
out what's next. And it's such a small window. Every day the portal grows, people commit. You feel like you're just
People
everything. There's so many
switch.
revolving pieces.
It's hard to know who
Um,
to trust too. I mean, it's wild. It's
yeah,
getting stuck in the portal. A lot of guys get stuck, like never make it out, and
yeah,
people think it's sweet, but reality hit quick.
yeah,
And kind of like what you just said, when your senior year, you so focused on like let me pour everything into this year, leave it all out there that you forget as soon as that's done, that last game is played, you lose or whatever it is, like you got to make that next step or next like journey pretty much, and it's like that is done. And so, but it worked out so
yeah.
for both of us.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It was. I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones, so I'm sure
Mhm.
you feel somewhat similar as well.
100%, 100%.
Um, I have another question for you that I assume you've gotten before because I've gotten it a million times as well. You and I both played for former Duke players and coaches under Coach K. What was your comparisons of similarities and differences? Since I didn't actually get to play for Coach K, you did.
Yeah, so I s to my best understanding, or my best way of putting it, I got Wojo's version of young Coach K when I was at Marquette. And high energy, high intensity. And basically, Wojo was the Wojo he was here, just with a suit and tie. And lots of times the suit and tie was coming off during the game. And he was crazy, but I mean, he was very, very like passionate about it. And you saw the love for the game. You saw like the appreciation for the details and just the preparation that he put in. And coming here and seeing how coach maneuvered, like it made Wojo make sense to me.
Mhm.
And from the preparation to just the like how strict he was with the details, like it just made sense because coach was like that, and obviously he was towards the end of his career as a coach, but you still saw everything, like everything made sense after being the year here.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And then talk me through the season as a whole because I was sure as you remember playing. I was in a totally different conference.
yeah.
I was not paying attention to any. The funniest part about college basketball, and I'm sure you can relate to it, when you move from one conference to another, you
Mhm.
start to realize you don't know a thing about any of the teams or players. I could tell you after 4 years in the Big Ten, I knew all the roster stats, all that from scouting.
Mhm.
Moved to the ACC, I don't know a thing about it, so I'm
Yeah.
not very up to date with the beginning of the season. I know you mentioned Ohio State, but what was the out of conference like? And then moving into conference, what do you remember most about the year?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, when I came into the ACC, like I had to look up who was all in the ACC because, like, I knew obviously it was Duke, North Carolina,
Mhm.
like all those big names, but like it, the smaller games and just figuring out, like, I don't know, it was an adjustment, but at the same time, it was the same basketball, same college game. You
Mhm.
know, like Big East is one way, and people say it's more physical, or some people even say it's less physical, smaller schools, all that, but it's really the same bump because, like, when you in the tournament, you playing those teams that you may not know much
Yep.
about,
Yeah.
and it's oftentimes similar. Like you can compare them to another team in that conference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Your favorite game of the season?
Favorite game? I had a lot. Uh, I mean, it's always fun winning at Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
I felt really good. Uh, yeah, I'm gonna say that one.
Yep. Least favorite game? Hardest game of the season?
Hardest game was definitely losing the last one here to
Yep.
UNC. Having, I mean, a lot of people came to that game. The old former players and just like obviously we didn't finish the way we wanted to, so it's seeing their faces and having there was a little party after the game too.
Yeah.
So like having to come back out after
Yep.
getting ripped one, and it it was humbling, and I feel like it got us ready and kind of propelled us
Yeah.
for the run that we did make, and we got the game that we really wanted in the Final Four, and pressure got to us,
Yeah.
and I give them credit. They hit shots, and but those are the moments you live for. You want to be in those situations, you want to be in those games, and yeah. But that was definitely the hardest one.
Yeah.
Being back out there. I think there's a picture floating around of me just staring straight, and I made eye contact with somebody with the camera, looking pissed, and it was just half embarrassment, half just like frustration
Yeah.
because you got to have those ones.
Yeah. Then you mentioned the game in the Final Four, but can you talk me through any comparisons? You mentioned you went to one tournament with Marquette. How was it different your second time around with Duke, and what was the overall experience like making that run?
I mean, so at Marquette, it was cool. Like I was young. It was like world was fell on top of the world, but then we lost right away. We lost. That was Marquette when we played Ja Morant.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So got beat by him first game, so it was quick.
You had
And
that
then
triple double, right?
yeah, I mean he showed out. Yeah, he showed out. We looking back, we definitely would have scouted that and prepped for that game a little differently. Put the focus on the wrong things, I feel like. But again, you never. It's a tournament. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's thrown together quick. Not pointing no blame on nobody or anything like that. Want that one back, and then being here, every game was crazy. Travel crazy, like I don't know. It was that built up uh, energy just with it being coaches last year. Like
Yeah.
that just added so much to it even more. And the team that we had, like there was so much pressure on us, and especially the guys that the starting five, like
Yeah.
that was a very very good team. I'm not one to say we were the best Duke team ever, but like we were very very talented,
Mhm.
and the fact that we were able to come together, do what we did, obviously we want that back because we could taste that championship, but can't. That's not how the world works.
Yeah. And you mentioned that with it being Coach K's last year. This was my first tournament this past season, and one of the biggest surprises with being in the tournament is just how much publicity and how much time you're spent
Yeah.
doing interviews and with the
Yeah.
media. I
Yeah.
assume that was on a whole different
No, it's
level.
wild. And then you watching commercial, like you watching just normal TV, or you just going to get some food and you see yourself on TV and you like put my head down, man. Like I see some fans, like it's really crazy, and I'm glad a lot of kids get to experience that through the tournament because it's literally what you dream of as a kid. So being able to live it out with your brothers that you've been fighting for is fun.
Last question I have about this your one season at Duke. Do you have a biggest surprise that came up that you remember of transferring to Duke?
Um, so I will say this: coming to Duke, I knew the Brotherhood was a thing. Like everybody hears that. I didn't think it was actually like. I thought it was a marketing scheme, to say the least. Like the Brotherhood is an actual thing, and guys. I mean, even spending this week. I mean, we was coaching some old men together,
Yep.
and just being able to be in each other's company and lean on each other, network with each other, like is a very valuable thing. And the brother is strong. And people ask, "Oh, do you think it's gonna fall off now that K gone?" It's like, nah, it's stronger than ever.
Yeah.
And K he taking a new position now. He basically everybody Gramps. You know what I'm saying? He's still around. He's still the OG. So it's fun seeing that, and just the support that you get from the guys of the past, like having guys that you watch play coming to you and be like, "Yeah, you're my favorite player of this year. You might like it means something." So I'm excited to see how it carry on.
Yeah. I had a very similar realization because my first experience at Duke was K Academy last year.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, I didn't think it was like fake, but every team has like a mantra,
Exactly.
something to say,
Exactly.
something, something about their program. And I just didn't grow up like a big Duke fan, so I didn't really know about it. And you get
I
here
actually
and you're
didn't like Duke when I was
Really?
younger. Yeah, I thought it was like preppy and being a private school, and I was more of a public. Like I went to the public school. Private school was more in it for me. But being here is different.
Yeah.
It's different, and I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, I was the same way. My parents both went to Syracuse, so grew up watching their
Okay.
games, and then
Yeah.
I wasn't a Duke hater, but
Mhm.
I wasn't like a big fan
Yeah.
until Coach Sutter calls, and then all of a sudden they don't
Yeah.
seem as bad.
Exactly.
But I agree. Like the Brotherhood just sounds like if you're not a fan or you're not around, you don't realize how legit and real it is. So yeah, I appreciate that insight. Lastly, I was going to transition into hearing you talk about your process into moving into the league and playing the G League this year. You're 1 year done now playing. What have you learned through the process? And what kind of, I guess I was going to ask, what kind of advice would you recommend to guys making the jump from college to the league?
I'd say I had the most fun in college. Honestly, that's where you living out your dream. Coming in to the first, again, I've only done 1 year, so I have a lot more to experience, a lot different perspectives to come from in the future. But from seat I'm in right now, like you got to be prepared moving on. If you're not one of those top lottery pick guys, you got to be prepared to bring off court stuff onto the court.
Yeah.
The business doesn't end outside those lines. Like we're in college, if you not diving on the floor, if you not giving your best effort every possession, you coming out. Like in the next level, that's not the factor. It's more of the business side, more of the I don't want to say political because that kind of leaves a bad taste, but there's less opportunity.
Yeah.
I'll say that. So if you last guy off the bench in college and first two guys, like say first two bigs playing bad, they could throw somebody in just to do it. And coach may be putting a lot of trust in you, but he can do that. He has the power to do that, and that's your opportunity. Where at the next level, you kind of waiting, as bad as it is to say, you waiting on injury, you waiting on, just an opportunity to get out there. So it's a lot to handle, and it's a lot to maneuver through, but at the same time, it's still you're doing what you love, and you're still getting paid for it. So, if you're given any opportunity, you just take it, and you do the same things you are taught in college. You show that you learn that, and you show that you know how to be a professional. You know how to carry yourself on a day-to-day basis, both on and off the court. Because, the fraudulent people, you're picked out, and whether it be right away or over a course of time, you have a bad week, you're gone. And we're here. You can't be traded or anything because you got classes. You got, you know what I'm saying? Like there's more security, and you're able to just focus on hoops in college. Where next level, there's a lot more that you got on your plate, but there's a lot more given.
And you mentioned how much more it is you're looking out for your own opportunity.
Yeah.
Is it more difficult, and do you see a drop off in the teams in general and guys being committed to the team success versus college? Because you got to think that everybody's in college as well. They're looking to get to the next level. Everybody always is. So you constantly you want the team to win, but you're also you got to put up your numbers if you want to get to that next level. I assume that's even at a a whole new level.
Yeah, it's tough. So the best way of looking at it from my perspective is once you're done with college, you become your own business, your own entity. And whether it be whatever organization chooses you, you are now working with other businesses and entities to accomplish a championship. Like that's the ultimate goal is to win a championship and raise money because again, it's a business side. So like it's where at Duke we're Duke. You know what I'm saying? Like we're together collectively, this one entity. And the pros, it's multiple entities working towards something together. So I feel like if you look at it from that standpoint, it's going to be an easier transition because you realize like, yeah, this can be my man's dude right next to me, but at the same time, we're competing for spots.
Yep.
And I got a kid, he got a kid, like he's gonna take this opportunity if I give it to him. So yes, he's my teammate and we're working towards the same thing, but we're also our separate business.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I mean, it's tough because it's hard to be very genuine then because
Yeah.
certain people will take advantage of that. But it's maneuvering and finding the people who you can be and then knowing the people you can't. So
Absolutely. And then obviously there's a difference in the college game compared to the league. How have you gone about that? Have you had to change your game at all? Have you made any major differences there? And what have you noticed?
Yeah, I mean the college. So I mean, when I was at Marquette, I got up to like 270, and I mean I was like 3 or 4% body fat, so like just big. And there's some pictures out there that people love posting and stuff like that. Like I was a football player playing basketball. You know, like if I was in the '90s, I would have been top 5. You know what I'm saying? But the way the game in the league has changed so much, and I don't want to say in a way has left college basketball behind, but there's been a lot less rule changes and like keeping up with the changes that the league makes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like the league, it's the same game but different rules. And the closest thing I compare it to is like the NBA and the overseas league. Like there's just different rule changes, it's a different game. So with being 270 and stuff, I've been dropping weight a lot since. Like I'm down to 235 right now.
Oh yeah.
And because you have to be more mobile, you have to be able to shoot, get up and down the floor, switch 1 through 5.
Yeah.
And guys in my position, like if you're undersized, quote unquote undersized big, like that's your role. You got to be like a Bam. You got to be someone that's able to be moved around in multiple positions and play multiple roles within the team. So it's fun though to figure it out and
yeah, test yourself.
Exactly.
Very cool. And then I asked you about it with transfer to Duke, but I'll ask you the same question. Making the jump to the league, any major misconceptions or big surprises you took note of? Outside of what we just talked about with the business and how that differs.
Yeah. It is what you dream of. Like it's just basketball. And at the end of the day, it's just basketball. If you can hoop, you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Like whether it be here, overseas, in the G League, like I'm doing what I love on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it comes with this, that, and the third. But at the end of the day, I'm living out my dream.
Yeah.
So if you're able to get to that opportunity, like I don't want to say sit down, be comfortable, be complacent, but have a certain level of appreciation for where you at while you fighting to get where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. You're saying you don't miss taking college classes?
It was a what?
You're saying you don't miss taking college classes?
Hey, not at all. It's funny, my interest for school was up and down, to say something. But as soon as I was done with college and getting no eligibility left, so I'm not coming back, but then I paid for a class, or a commercial real estate class.
There we go.
And if you would have asked me, especially my last year at Marquette, I'd have laughed my everything. Like it just wasn't happening. Yeah. But I realized when I find something that I'm actually passionate about, I'm ready to learn about it. I want to learn about it. But managing the basketball schedule, it's tough to find classes that you can be actually passionate about.
Yeah.
Because you don't have enough time in the day. especially when basketball is your primary focus.
Right. And then the last thing, I mentioned this to you before, but I'm a big trivia guy. So I have 5 trivia questions for you, and I figured we touched upon it, but new father, I was going to ask you 5 questions, test your knowledge on newborns. I assume you've
All
been
right.
reading
Here
up
we go. Daddy
on,
of the year.
Did you have to read all those like baby books? And I guess they're
So-
probably articles now.
Yeah, well,
Stuff, right? Are there still baby books out there?
Yeah, no, there's parenting books.
Okay. Parenting
I
books,
read a few of those. I was very fortunate. My mother has a daycare that she's
Okay.
been running since 23 years now, so since I was born. And so I grew up in that. So
Okay.
I was changing diapers. I was feeding little kids. I was listening to kids cry. Like I was in it for many years. So I had a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
But let's see what
All
you
right,
got.
I got 5 questions. I'm expecting you to go 5 for 5 here. I didn't. I took
pressure.
this. This was like an online quiz, and I went 2 for 5. So
All right.
he's hoping to do better than that. All right. Number 1 here. When should babies ideally have their first bath? I can give you the 4 options are as soon as possible, 24 hours after birth, after the first month, or 5 to 7 days after birth.
5 to 7 days.
That's correct.
There you
1 for
go.
1.
I was the one gave Jabril his first bath.
There we go.
Lady was still on bed rest.
After 5 days, does he smell?
Does he smell? Nah, I mean, so again, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they need to like get acclimated to being out the womb,
Yeah.
and like they have to build a certain level of.
Yeah, this says the vernix needs time to soak into the baby's skin.
I don't even know what vernix is, but I think that's what I said.
Helps reduce the chances of hypothermia. Yeah. I think
Basically, get it adjusted. Yeah,
You got it
all
right.
Hey, okay.
All right, number 2 here. Newborns learn to smile. 1, in the utero. 2, a few days after birth. 3, around 2 weeks old. Or D, near 1 month old.
D, near 1 month.
Ooh, it says in the utero here.
In the utero?
Yeah,
Wait,
when they
what is
learn
it?
to smile.
What's a utero?
I think it means they're still in the
womb?
in the stomach yeah.
I've never heard utero. Uterus?
Well, I assume it's
Same. That makes sense.
I mean, uterus is a plural. I know you have 1 uterus, I think, but it says, believe it or not, babies learn to smile way before they take their first breath. Many moms swear that baby is smiling in his ultrasound picture. Experts believe that babies learn to smile sometime around 26 weeks gestation. So I got that one wrong in my pre-quiz as well.
So, I was going up the grill. He late, man. Come on. Boy, it's serious. Me, mother.
For the 3rd question, for safety, newborns should never sleep with A, a blanket, B, a pacifier, C, white noise, or D, a nightlight.
Blanket. You
Yes.
can't put nothing in the crib.
Yep.
It's a choking hazard.
Yep. It is a blanket. It says, instead, newborns can sleep in sleep sacks,
Yeah.
a wearable sleeping bag.
Sleep sat, you die what it is. So, Jabril, I call it a straight jacket. Because he literally like arms out, body out. So it's like they can't move. It look like a starfish.
All right, 2 for 3. Moving on to the 4th one. This is going off that former question. How should you position your baby for sleep? A, on his stomach, C, on his right, B, on his right side, C, on his back, or D, on his left side.
See,
On his back. Yep. I got that one right. So
There you
I
go.
figured that was
Future dad.
the right thing. But it says the same thing here. If on their back, it helps reduce the risk of SIDS, SIDS, a very scary phenomenon.
Sudden infant death syndrome, I think.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wow.
Was it? Yeah, SID. All right, I bet.
Here we go. Bonus. All right. 3 for 4 here. Going to the 5th one. What is cradle cap? It's either A, harmless flaky skin on top of baby's head, B, a head of deformity, or C, an infection needing medication.
A cradle cap. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's when they got to wear the little helmet. So that's like the deformation.
Yeah, I put that as well. It says that it's the harmless flaky skin on top of a baby's head.
So is that 3 for 5?
3 for 5, but you got the SID, whatever that was.
SIDS.
So I think you're 4 out of 5 here.
There we
Good
go.
enough.
Good
Good
percentage.
boys in good hands. All right. Well, that's all I had. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Likewise,
I
man.
hope everybody got another fun experience to learn more about a member of the Brotherhood. And best of luck in the future this upcoming year, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate
it.
you.
Likewise.
All right.
It's a wrap.